Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Posttopostpod podcast. With me, as always, is my co-host Chris Ronan for episode 93. How are we?
Good, pal. Little Yager salute for the fans tonight.
Love it, love it. We are recording on Friday. It's Veterans Day. Anyone watching us? We got the little LA Kings little military jersey. Pretty sick looking. Very
Yeah, it is. Happy
looking.
Veterans Day to all those who've served
Mm-hmm.
on both sides.
Right.
Little office reference.
We are starting a little late here, but some news here for everyone. Want to jump right into it?
Yeah, let's get it.
Let's get it. All right, so we got some signs, some injuries, and a number retirement this week. PK Subban signed a 3-year deal with ESPN as a hockey analyst. He did help with the Stanley Cup playoffs last season. Subban will mainly work as a studio analyst, but will do some games during the season. How are we feeling about this?
Yeah, it's good. We kind of sonked the fans a little bit there with a 3-year contract for PK Subban, but it's with the ESPN, so
Yep.
he is definitely all retired now. I think it's a great contract for him, a great face for the league to sign as a hockey analyst. Like, I think that he's going to do a great job, and arguably, like, maybe like a more professional Paul Bissonnette, like
Yeah.
a little inside look at the locker room, but a guy that has a lot of personality to him, and I'd like to see his insight on the game.
Yeah, personality through the roof. I don't know if maybe a little more mature than Bissonnette.
Oh, that doesn't take much, though, does it?
Doesn't really take much. Just a little slither of maturity just gets you by. But I think PK is going to be a beautiful little set-in for ESPN. I think the fans are going to love it. He's going just like Paul. I think he's going to bring in a lot of fans too.
Yeah, and I mean, he was a face of the league for a long time. You know, he's one of the main, you know, around here, I guess, arch nemesis of Boston.
Yeah,
but
right. He loves Boston. He's always around here.
Yeah, and I think like if it wasn't for the Montreal-Boston Bruins rivalry, like he's not as polarizing as I think like all the other fans think. You know, like when he was in Nashville, he was on New Jersey. Like when he's on those teams, he's not really like the prick out there that we think he is when it comes to Boston and Montreal. But it all just goes down to that deep like hatred for each other from like a team standpoint. You know,
Right.
PK Subban's an awesome guy.
Great guy, just all around. You know, but. Yeah, you're right. It's that Canadian seed in front of him, just like Bostonians are just like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see him though on the other end.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of old legends, Marty Brodeur came into news this week. He was hired by the New Jersey Devils as the executive vice president of hockey operations and a multi-year contract extension. Brodeur had been working in business development with the Devils since 2018, and GM Tom Fitzgerald brought him on as an advisor to the hockey operations department in 2020. This allows him to focus solely on the hockey operations side. His duties will include personal decisions, player recruitment, scouting, and overseeing the team's goaltending development department. Now, as a goalie that was part of the New Jersey Devils franchise for years and years, who is just broken records as a goalie, one of the best up there. You talk about like Patrick Waugh. I mean, he's up there with just like what was it, games won as a goaltender. He's like number one. So to have that guy as a goalie, you know, development coach for your organization is going to help out a lot. He's got a lot of knowledge for these guys.
Yeah, and I think it's a great sign for the organization to jump him up into the executive VP of hockey ops. Like a guy like that who's been with your team for the long haul, like he will bleed and die red and black.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a New Jersey Devil as it gets. But I just think like the hockey mind that he has now after, you know, the past 5 years and then some, working back office in the NHL, like I think it's a really good move by the Devils to ink this guy. And I think you're going to see this happen so much more down the line with all these teams that have players that are like, when I think of this guy, you know, I only think of one team, and they're just going to continue to move, you know, after hockey. That's where their careers are going to go because they're, you know, they can't play anymore, but they're going to want to do something for the back office.
Right. And I think that goes with our head coach talk last week where it worked for Marty Brodeur here. I think he's doing a great job, but also maybe a guy like a Marty Brodeur type for some reason can't fit into that. Maybe just like his career was just on the ice, just as a team, and for some reason like an office job just doesn't suit him. So I don't know if we'll see that, but actually it might be a different mindset too. Where you're just like you're in the back, you're not really dealing with anything. It's just like you're
talking about comparing like coaching versus back office.
Yeah, like just players leaving like hockey and just in general to work as like an office or work as like a franchise like back office person, you know. I wonder if it's like a big jump, like anything different from what
I personally think it's the easiest transition for a professional athlete to, you know, retire from what they were doing and still transition into an everyday, like 9 to 5 in a sense. And I think that, you know, the league should do more about that. As bad as it sounds, right? With it's basically not nepotism, but you're picking someone who, you know, you have a career resume with, and because they've played for your team, you're going to give them a salary to do a job for you in the office, you know. As bad as that is, I think it's the best thing you can do for the game, because who knows the game better than a guy who's played in that league, you know?
Right. 100%.
So I think it's really cool to see.
Well, speaking about New Jersey Devils and goaltending here, Devils Mackenzie Blackwood will miss 4 to 6 weeks due to a sprained MCL. Blackwood, who I talked about during our breakdowns of all the divisions, talked about needed like a comeback season. He didn't play too well last season. He needs to come back. He was 4-2-0 so far this season with a .880 save percentage and 2.79 GAA, which is still not looking good. Akira Schmid, Devils' 5th-round pick in 2018, will fill in as backup for Vitek Vanacek. Schmid went 0-4-0 last season in the 6 games played with the Devils, so this isn't his first rally here with the Devils. He was up here last season. He saw his first NHL game last season with the Devils, so at least someone who knows or has some kind of NHL experience.
Yeah, a little bit.
Back up Vitek Vanacek, but I still think the goaltending with the New Jersey Devils might not be as solid as you'd kind of want for this organization.
Yeah, I think this is a prime example of maybe last year or 2 years ago, Toronto Maple Leafs, a run-and-gun offense, a high-flying, you know, Edmonton, Calgary that has, well, I shouldn't say Calgary, Edmonton, that had really good offense that's putting the puck in the back of the net way more than they're getting scored on, but the goaltending and the defense isn't really backstopping for you, you know. Blackwood being 4-2 with an .880 and a .279 is kind of surprising. Like, the Devils are on an 8-game win streak, and they're arguably starting goaltender in Blackwood, right? Or backup?
I think they've been backing him up as late. I think Vitek Vanacek's really been taking the reins here.
Regardless, though, like having him play that many games and putting up an .880, you know, like it's just goaltending isn't what wins games for this team, you know?
Right.
An 8-game win streak, like that's wild.
Yeah.
And now you have Akira Schmid, so I assume that this streak is going to snap shortly, in my opinion. 4 to 6 weeks with an MCL sprain, like that's a long stint to go.
It is.
So.
Yeah, it's a long way to go without playing hockey, and then to come back too with the stats like this. I don't know. It might not be good or bad for Mackenzie Blackwood, but I don't know. We'll see. But Devils, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see goaltending wise with this organization.
A lot of guys popping off on that team though.
They're shocking
offensively.
the shit out of all of us though this season. There's players and teams that are just shocking the shit out of everyone so far this season, though. Seattle Kraken's up there. New Jersey Devils shocking the shit out of us. Like, it's a
team we haven't mentioned once, I think, since the season started. The Winnipeg Jets leading their division 8-3-1. It's fucking insane, dude. Like, some of this stuff just makes no sense to me.
It's nuts. But that'll be for next week, because I want to go next week. I want to really get into it with some of these teams that either really fucking bad or really fucking good. And we're going to jump into the really bad right now, which is just making shit worse.
Yeah, the Columbus Blue Jackets are at the bottom of their division here, and they got some bad news this week. Zach Werenski is going to miss the rest of the season with a separated shoulder and a torn labrum after missing a check on Flyers' Travis Konechny, and he awkwardly kind of fell into the boards here. Werenski's only had 3 goals and 5 assists in 13 games played, but he's your top pair defenseman, I'd say. It's another blow to a big team who's tied for dead last in the league. He joins Adam Boqvist, Justin Danforth, Jacob Voracek, Sean Corrali, Nick Blankenberg, and Eric Gudbranson on the injury list.
That's names right there. That is a list of guys, and it's not gonna doesn't help.
Yeah, they're really looking to Laine and Gaudreau to step up and get things done there. But at a certain point, like, what do you want me to do, Coach? We're short-staffed.
Yeah,
you know, just like the rest of the world right now.
Just struggle and get by, you know. So that's it. So moving on from that, Evander Kane had a crazy incident this week too. He was actually placed on LTIR. He's expected to miss 3 to 4 months after getting his wrist sliced by Patrick Maroon's skate earlier this week. Kane's had 5 goals and 8 assists in 14 games played, both 5th most on the Oilers, so he's going to be missed. That was for everyone watching. We're gonna put a little thing down here. That was scary to
Definitely
see.
not for the faint of heart. Just a viewer warning here
Yeah.
before we throw the clip down. But here you go. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like the Richard Zednick incident and the goalie that got his throat slashed.
Oh
like,
yeah, that
just a lot of blood for something that on the ice doesn't look that big.
bad. Yeah.
And it didn't even look like Maroon put like his full body weight onto like his wrist, but it's just a spot where there's no protection between that elbow pad and the glove, and it's just wide open. I mean, good on Kane getting right off the ice. Shout out to the medical staff getting him the treatment he needs right away. But that was scary. Just the pure look of fear in his eyes when he realized what was happening.
I think that's what got me the most. It was like he got up and like he was like screaming, like holding his wrist. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, completely unintentional too. I don't think Maroon was like, hey, let me break this guy's arm, like step on him,
Right, exactly.
But yeah, fifth most on the Oilers for goals and assists. That's nuts. He's going to be a big piece missing in the puzzle there, and hopefully they can continue to get by. I mean, nothing's going to slow McDavid and Draisaitl down, but the rest of the team, we'll see.
They'll just pick up the pace.
That's right. Pick up the slack.
I think the Oilers are going to miss this guy. No. They're just going to double. McDavid and Draisaitl is just going to double their
shift.
points. Yep,
they can double shift too.
The number that was I talked about before this that's going to be retired was actually Ottawa Senators Chris Neal's 25, and that's going to be on February 17th, 2023. Now you're going to ask why Chris Neal's number is going to be retired, and it's like, say if Sean Thornton for the Boston Bruins stayed on the Boston Bruins for like his entire like career, and we're just like, you know what, number 22 is going to go up in the rafters. It's kind of what the Senators are doing here. So
and arguably, I could still see Thornton's number 22 being retired down the line. Like maybe after he like passes or something. As weird as that sounds, like, you know what I mean?
So?
Yeah, like that far down.
Wow.
Don't you think?
I mean, he was a Boston legend.
Like who's the other biggest fighter for the Bruins?
Milan Lucic back in the day, right? Or PJ Stock.
Yeah, Terry O'Reilly.
I can't think of any more.
I don't know. I just feel like he's like heart and soul. Like
yeah, he was. He lived and died Boston.
It was almost like an unsung hero kind of thing though, because like he was one of the last to do his job for the team, but also like the Bergerons and the Chars, like just how much leadership we had in that locker room. Even Lucic, like he wasn't really like a leader, but like you could tell that there was some kind of leadership coming from Lucic as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I remember him leaving Boston and him just like, when I retire, like I got a spot in Boston and I'm bringing my family to. Like that's how much he loved it here. I think that's why the Bruins, especially the Boston Bruins fans, loved him so much. It'd be like, dude, you just...
It had to be one of the top jersey sales back in the day.
Oh, it had to be.
Right?
Yeah, it had to been. I knew I took time out of my day to meet him in New Hampshire. It was just a great experience. You ever shaken like a boulder?
Yeah.
Unreal. But we're not talking about Sean Thornton here. We're talking about Chris Neal. Chris Neal's number 25 is going to be retired. And if you don't know anything about Chris Neal, here we go. Drafted in 1998 by Ottawa, which is 161st overall, and never played for another team before announcing his retirement in 2017. Chris played 1,026 games with 112 goals and 138 games played.
Points, right?
Points. Sorry, my bad. 20th in the league amongst PIMs with 2,522 in his career, which is most in Ottawa franchise history. He had a career 176 NHL fights in 15 seasons, and 17 of those fights came in his first NHL season at the age of 22. Just a guy that came in and was like, I got to drop the gloves here. I got to, stand up for my team, and here he is. How long was that? That was 15 years. 15 years of him just like dropping the gloves, getting the shit done. I can't imagine as like a fighter. Like fighters don't really last that long. Think about like old school fighters where, I don't know, you're a goon. You're supposed to just fight. They don't 4 or 5 years before like the damage.
No, I think they lasted back then.
Think so?
Yeah, think of the big name fighters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like McGillney. Oh man, who's the guy that they called Boo? What was his name?
But you think a bunch of them played over 1,000 games?
Probably not 1,000 games because of scratches and things like that. But that would be interesting to look into. Like, most career games played based on like category. Like this guy's a clear fighter. Like gonna stand up for his team kind of guy.
You know what I couldn't find when digging into this too is NHL has like random ass stats for random things, yet they do not have any stats for fighting majors. I couldn't look up like who who in the NHL history had like the most fighting majors. Like I couldn't find it anywhere. I found a random ass site. I think it was like a Reddit page of like it only went up to like 2018 of like top guys with fighting majors, and I'm like,
well, you could just look up their most career NHL fights. Ty Domi 339, Dave Williams 325. Whoever has a fight has a fighting major associated with it.
Oh yeah,
Chris Nyland, Bob Probert, Craig Berube, Rob Ray, Marty McSorley, like, and those guys have somewhere between 275 and 325. So you can assume if they're fighting once every 4 games, like Chris Neal did, that's 1,000 games played. Chris Knuckles Nyland saw more fights than almost any fighter in NHL history, though.
That's nuts, dude. And he's still killing it, by the way. I think this guy's got, like, brain damage or some shit. See him on Instagram? He's still going strong, buddy.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Sure is.
Oh, actually, we were just talking about, I was just showing you that Rasmus Dahlin clip, and you were just like, oh, why don't the Buffalo Sabres have, like, their own golf bags? And Chris Nealon was on Instagram, I think it was, like, last summer, and I guess the Montreal Canadiens gave him, like, this, like, special, like, Montreal Canadiens, like, golf bag. I'm like, this is sick. And that's what I thought of when you talked about that. I'm like, ooh, I don't know why NHL teams don't do that.
Yeah, it's a cheap investment, and I think the first reason might be because they would get them mixed up all the time if everyone on the team has a Bruins bag that has their number and name on it. But
right,
yeah,
I don't know. This is what it is. But congrats to Chris Neal here. I'm sure all the Ottawa Senators fans are. It's gonna be one of those like franchise names,
Yeah.
Like Sean Thornton, as we're talking about the Bruins here. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those guys. So I think all the other fans from like outside of their franchise be like, why are they doing this? But for all the Ottawa Senators fans, they know those plays, they know the fights, they know everything he's done that we would have to sit there for hours on end trying to find here. But yeah, so congrats. Want to jump into the main news here because we have 3 suspensions here that we kind of wanted to bring up. By the time this comes out, their suspensions will be over. They'll be back in play, and all the listeners are going to be like, why are you guys talking about this? But here we go. Matthew Tkachuk's 2-game suspension for high-sticker Jonathan Quick. He forfeited $1,702. And then we have, I'm going to do the other 2, might as well. Josh Anderson was also suspended 2 games for illegal hit on Alex Pietrangelo. Pietrangelo was fine and not injured. And we have another one, Yurov Slavkovsky was also suspended 2 games for boarding Red Wings Matt Luff. Matt Luff will miss 10 to 12 weeks with an upper body injury after that hit. Luff will join 7 other Red Wings players who are currently out. Robbie Fabry, Jake Wallman, Tyler Bertuzzi, Jacob Vrana, Mark Piszczek, Philip Zadina, and Elmer Soderblom. Another big hit here with the Montreal Canadiens and the Columbus Blue Jackets here. Missing a lot of players here.
Yeah, let's start with that one, actually, because I wanted to touch on like the league this season. I feel like the teams that aren't injured are like just coming off of them. Like look at the Bruins and look at other teams that, a lot of off-season stuff that plagued them, and now like guys are coming back, right?
Yeah.
Now it seems like their entire group is almost like fully healthy. And then there's these teams that are just plagued, the Red Wings and the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Canadiens, I think, are looking kind of rough still. Mm-hmm. But I think that is like the biggest factor in where they stand in the lineup. Like having that many guys out, like what the hell are you supposed to do?
Right.
You need to call 7 names up to fill those roster spots, and now you're 1/3 of an AHL team.
Yeah. Like what the hell you? That means they have to go down to the ECHL. Mm-hmm. And just like what happens with those teams now?
So now let's work our way back towards these suspensions. So the first one I want to look at is Uri Slavkovsky's 2-game suspension. He boarded Red Wings Matt Luff, as you said. Mm-hmm. I am a big proponent of if the guy that you injured is out for X amount of time, you need to stay out for, until he's back. Mm-hmm. Right. As unfair as you may think that is, like this guy wouldn't be out if you didn't do what you did. Mm. And let's say maybe it's unintentional, maybe it's intentional. Like look at it that way too. Now, if it's intentional, maybe it's more time than that guy misses, or unintentional half the time, But a guy, I don't know, this Slavkovsky hit, I wouldn't say it was intentional. I think it was he saw the numbers and shouldn't have hit him. So 2 games seemed like the right suspension to me.
Right.
A new player in the league, just
Oh, yeah.
like whack on the wrist kind of thing. 2 games isn't too bad, right?
Right.
What did you think about it?
No, I'm with you on that. The 2-game suspension for Slavkovsky. Actually, I see this, and I see him getting the slap on the wrist here, while also realizing, if you go back and see Slavkovsky this season, he has been fucking jammed against the boards, open ice hits. This guy's been getting slammed all around the ice.
But he's so
this
big and
season.
beefy, he can take it.
Yeah,
and he can
exactly.
fucking dish it out like we see here in this
Right.
hit, you know?
Mm-hmm. And so, like, this is, like, yeah, it's exactly the example of just, like, what would happen if it's Slavkovsky doing the hitting. And here we go with the example of just like, oh, man, he can ransack someone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just like do or don't situation. But yeah, 2 games is fine. It sucks that Matt Luff is out 10 to 12 weeks, but also, like, just a rookie guy, slap on the wrist here. That's what the NHL is going to do. Now, I want to go back to Matthew Tkachuk here, where we were just talking about him having a whole slew. He's got a nice Santa Claus list of shit he's done in the NHL, where he had the 2-game suspension for that hit on for the high stick on Jonathan Quick. Now, we were just watching that clip right before recording here, and it's such a very quick move. It was Josh Anderson that was in front of him, right, defending him. And it's such a quick, like, little wrist turn for Matthew Tkachuk to get his stick, like, through the mask.
Definitely wasn't Anderson. Anderson was the guy that was suspended in the other hit. I forget who it was defending him, but
I can't remember his name.
But when I'm watching the highlight, you're saying it's like such a quick motion.
Yeah.
You initially see, which is what the announcers focus on, the back heel of the stick hit quick, like above the eye, like right around here on the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Tkachuk realized, like, oh, that's where my stick is right now. That's when Quick kind of like folds a little bit, like moves out of the way to like not get hit with a stick. Tkachuk then brings the toe of his blade to here and then rotates it into the eye hole.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right toward the cat eye.
He's not looking directly at Quick. So he makes it kind of tough to say if it's fully intentional.
Right.
But I think, like, as an NHL player, you know how the puck feels on your stick. You know where your stick is at all times. The way that the stick rotates, man, it's got to be intentional from him.
It is so weird. Like, I feel like, say if it was Slavkovsky doing it, it'd be like, oh, maybe he's just trying to just get his stick out of the way and just skate away. Like, all it would take is that one little like movement from like this stick to like get in. I mean, I don't know. Are we saying this because it's Matthew Tkachuk?
I think I'm also looking at it from the other perspective and saying, are we saying this because it's Jonathan Quick too? Because I think goalies have a tendency to kind of flop a little and give a little extra. Like, he wasn't injured in the play. There's no blood at the end of the day. Like, he ends up continuing the game and playing, right? I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it might have been a little bit of extra theatrics.
Right.
But, you know, if you choose to wear a cat eye cage like Matt has and like I have, like, you know that that's the risk you take ahead of time. Yeah. And I think it's just the track record of Tkachuk and the intentionalism of the way that he rotates his stick that earns him 2 games for this. Mm-hmm. Because if you're good on that, when we look at the Josh Anderson hit, which I think is way worse than what Tkachuk did.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Anderson has a very clean record. I believe this was his first suspension. Mm-hmm. He gets two games for an illegal hit on Alex Pietrangelo. Now, this is different than I think the Slavkovsky hit, where Anderson sees him, like, numbers facing him, backs against him, and you can tell, like, the way Pietrangelo is going to rotate. Anderson never, like, eases up. He's still coming in full steam, sees back, and still throws the hit.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why this one earns 2 games. And honestly, I would have said this should be 3.
Oh, God.
3 or 4, because this should be more than what Tkachuk did, in my opinion. Even with track record in mind, like, he had all the intent in the world to do what he did.
Yeah. I don't understand how Pietrangelo got up from this. Like, you watch it in slow-mo or just, like, watch it in clips like we did, his neck just whips back, his face slams against the wall, like, the whole bench board there, and, like, he goes down, but, like, in an instant, he's back up and just, like, throwing hammers, you know? Just, like, I don't know how you're up. I don't know how you're fine whatsoever, but it's just a hit like that where, say if it wasn't Pietrangelo, say if, like, something like that could really put a player out for not even weeks. It'd be like a month thing, and maybe give some guy like a concussion.
I mean, if it was 3 inches lower, it would have been his forehead, and it would have been major concussion.
So Pietrangelo is just lucky as shit, or just hard-headed as fuck. I don't know what it was, but
I think part of it's adrenaline too, where it's like his nose and his like mouth, his lip, like that's where he gets hit. So it's a lot of blood, a lot of like the water works, but like he's not, like we said, the head injury. That's really where it would be a major issue. Like this guy's not going to get up, his neck, things like that.
Right. So I think that's what I'm with you on that. Where I think when I first showed you both these, you're just like, I think your comment was just like, why are these both warranted? Why are they both the same 2-game suspension? I'm like, yeah, I'm with you.
It was kind of weird to see all 3 of these happen within like the same time frame, and the NHL was like, yeah, 2, yeah, 2, here you go,
Oh, that happened. I just give him 2.
Yeah, right.
But that hit should have been Petrangelo hit should have been like 4, 5 maybe. But I think the only reason why I got 2 is because Petrangelo was able to get up and he was not injured.
5 I think would have been a little heavy, but I think 3 or 4 is definitely the right speed for that.
Yeah, you're right. But I just realized I messed up too. I said who was defending Matthew Tkachuk, and I said Josh Anderson because I was just thinking Josh Anderson. I can't remember who the player was for the LA Kings, but yeah, it's something we kind of want to talk about. It was just, again, it was weird. 2 games, yet some were just worse than others for some reason, and it still got 2. And one had something to do with Matthew Tkachuk's track record, whereas Slafkovsky is just a slap on the wrist, even though Slafkovsky was worse.
But I also think at the end of the day, like all of these, players that received their injury or hit, whatever you want to call it, and all the guys that were offenders on the play, they're all going to walk away from it and learn from it. And I think 2 games is like a fine number at the same time where, yeah, fans might bitch and say more, might say less, but like, what's the difference between a game or 2, right? Like, right. I think that the message is clear. It's done. It's over with. We don't do that here,
right. Right. By the time this episode drops, they're all back on skates. They're all back on the bench. So, just something we kind of want to talk about because it was weird. It was just funny that it was 3 different incidents that all 3 had something specific into it that kind of counteracted like the other one, but. I don't know. Let's move on from it. Okay? Ready for that?
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about more old guys here. Eric Staal. I haven't heard that name in a while. He finally bounced back to the NHL this season. He played his 1,300th game this week. He ranked 64th among most games played. Entered the league in 2003, played for the Hurricanes, Rangers, Wild, Canadian Sabres, and now the Panthers. So he's been around the league. If he keeps playing, he can pass Sergei Gonchar, who has 1,301 games, Daniel Sedin with 1,306, and Marian Hossa with 1,309. Patrick Marleau currently sits at number 1 with 1,779 games played after passing Gordie Howe in April of last year. Congrats to Eric Staal. It's great to see him back. I think we talked about him
when he was on PTO with the Panthers.
Yeah, exactly. I think we were talking about that. We're just like, ooh. And he was like really trying to come back. And I was like, kind of hope he does get like a little comeback here. So it's cool to see him on the Panthers here and just like keep the train moving here.
It's always cool when the 3 brothers end up meeting up and playing a game because they always get like a quick photo op, I think it's cool.
Yeah, 100%.
3 brothers in the NHL is a pretty big achievement by the parents,
Oh, yeah. So congrats to Eric Staal. So you see a lot of 1,000 games played, not a lot of 1,300, 1,300 games plus, So thought I'd add that in there, especially for a guy who deserves it. I don't know if I really get to add to that. You got anything to add to that at all?
No, yeah.
Just some good stuff. So one thing we found this week, either you sent it or I sent it. No, you sent it. Anyone in the fan base of ours hear of unicycle hockey?
It's the first I saw it.
Yeah.
Know what I've seen that it's actually like super impressive too? Have you seen bicycle soccer?
No.
It's fucking sick, dude. Like they can rip like soccer shots with like the back wheel of a pedal bike.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they like snap it like a tail whip and they just rip shots. It's fucking cool. I'll show you that after we're done. But
okay.
Bicycle, I don't know what they call it, but bicycle soccer is fucking awesome. Very cool. I think Germany's a big proponent of it as well. We're going to get into unicycle hockey.
We're going to get into Europeans who are into unicycle hockey that I've never heard of. I'm sure people have heard of, but I've never heard of. So let's go down and talk about what unicycle hockey is. So the first known instance of unicycle hockey dates back to 1925 in a silent German movie called Variety. That just blew my mind when I found that out. 3 countries are part of the Unicycle Hockey League. There's a league. Australia with 8 teams. Germany, guess how many? 89 fucking teams. and Switzerland with 20 teams. The UK, France, Denmark, Sweden, Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, and Korea all have club teams that play as well. The first unicycle World Hockey Championship was actually played in Minneapolis, United States in 1994, where Germany won.
You know what I didn't get a chance to look at? I was so focused on the players on unicycles shooting the puck or the ball, or I couldn't tell you. I was just watching people on unicycles with a hockey stick. I don't know if they had a ball, whatever. I didn't realize what the goalies were wearing. Are they just like fucking normal dudes on unicycles?
Oh my god, I haven't
like
noticed
glove
that
and blocker and a helmet? I don't know.
I was just shocked that they're able to. They're all on unicycles. I don't even know how to fucking ride a unicycle.
It looks so awkward and goofy too, because it's not like you can like get a bunch of speed and momentum going. You kind of get to like a brisk walk pace, and then you like rip a shot. I don't know. You don't really go fast on a unicycle.
It was just so. I thought it was like some dude. I swear to God, when you sent me this, I'm just like, is this just a group of guys that thought they're gonna start something new, because they're not? And then we fucking started going down the rabbit hole of unicycle hockey. I'm like, oh my god, it's been around for forever, and America just doesn't
almost
do it.
A century.
It's all
right?
Yeah, it's like
1925, I think you said.
Europeans fucking do it, and we've never even heard of it. That is a wild sport. Whoever thought of that and just like go for it, and the fact that like the first instance of it was in a fucking movie, a silent German movie in 1925, just blows my goddamn mind. Just blows it out of the water.
I feel like it might make it easier to be on a unicycle if you have a hockey stick, because like, like if you go on ice skates before, like when you first learn how to skate and you don't have a stick, it's a little bit harder because you don't have like a third thing to lean on. But now like you put the stick in your hand, you're leaning, and now like with a unicycle, you can kind of like press into it a little bit on one side, the other. Maybe, I don't know.
I wonder if the sticks are made different then.
No,
because I feel like you put a lot of weight on it. Does the stick would snap?
No, they like fucking buy a 180 flex like Chara does.
So I think everyone who listened in now knows of unicycle hockey and how big it is that you had no idea it was. So, yep, I thought we'd spread that little bit of knowledge that still keeps me up at night. But let's move on from unicycle hockey here and talk about Hockey Beast, aka Hockey East. Northeastern University / Buffalo Sabres goalie Devon Levy had a 33 save shutout last Saturday, which was his 12th career shutout with the Huskies, which became a Northeastern University record. Levi had 10 shutouts last season and 32 games played with a .952 save percentage and 1.54 GAA. This season, he's 6-1-2 with a .950 save percentage and 1.53 GAA. Just Northeastern, just in general, BC. We've talked about these guys, but Devon Levy is just I can't even tell you. This dude's just ready to fucking go. Like we talk about Northeastern, BC, BU, like BU, Jake Ottinger from BU, just ready to go right out the rip. Thatcher Demko from Boston College, who was ready to go with Vancouver Canucks right out the rip. And I think Devon Levy, right as soon as he's ready, I think is going to be ready to go right out the rip with the Buffalo Sabres. That's my take on it. And how do you feel about that? Do you think he's going to be in the minus for a bit?
I don't know. So that's the thing that I look at these goalies that get thrown into the mix right away. Like one name that came to mind because it's kind of recent is Spencer Knight with BC. I mean, 2020, 2021, here's his stats. He was 2.18 and a .932. And the year before that, it's a 1.97 and a .931. So a little bit lower than Devon Levi. And I think that the competition has obviously just gotten better as the time's gone on. But my question becomes, what is the skill gap between the college level, the juniors level, the KHL, the AHL, and the NHL? You know what I mean? Like, is this guy, it obviously comes down to, like, he's already drafted by the Sabres, but, like, at the end of the day, like, the team in front of him, where they're trending, things like that, like, but is he going to be thrown to the Wolves? Are they going to sewer his stock? And is he just going to, like, fizzle out? But I don't keep up with the juniors, the college, these kind of, scouts and prospects, all those kind of players. So seeing these numbers, it makes me think that no, but at the same token, like, he hasn't played in the NHL before, so who knows what that translates into? Is that a .910 and a 2.7?
He did play in the preseason games, one of the preseason games for the Buffalo Sabres this season,
which is kind of interesting because I thought that you couldn't really do things like that when it came to college. I thought there was like strict guidelines of like you're either in college or you're with the team, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you're drafted and you're their prospect, but you're our goalie right now, you know?
I think it might be different with a contract.
In preseason too, you know?
Yeah. I think preseason and not really being a contract. It's more like just prospects, just skating, you know? I think that would have a lot to do with it. I think we just, like Jack LaFontaine from Minnesota that we talked about last season where he played for, it was Minnesota, right? Yeah, he played for Minnesota, and then it was Carolina that was just like, hey, we're going to give you we're just going to jump you right from college and sign you here. And he's like, all right, screw it. And then just got lit the fuck up.
Yeah, he played for University of Minnesota and then went to the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
7.2 GAA.
Yeah,
.780.
Jumped the gun a little too quick. So.
He's bouncing back, though. He's got a 3.66 and a .895 for the Solar Bears now. So, yeah, he'll get there. We'll see.
Eventually. We'll get there. But that kind of backs up what you were just talking about. We're just like, some goalies are just like, that gap, you know? They're just not ready to jump in.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a slow transition, you know? Like, to take a guy from college, and in my opinion, it's college and juniors are pretty, you know, equitable. AHL is probably the next step, then K, and then NHL when it comes to a skill gap. So you need to transition them pretty smoothly into it. You can't just throw them to the wolves and pray for the best.
Right.
And I mean, some teams are just desperate for it. Like, if you think about where the Hurricanes goaltending was 2-3 years ago, they probably did need someone to come in like that, and they lucked out with Nedeljkovic, sold high on him, got other things in, and kind of banked on, you could say, a LaFontaine. They got Frederik Andersen, things like that. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces, but like sometimes, you know, the only option is to, hey, you're our prospect. We need you to perform now rather than later. So show us you got what you got.
Good take. I mean, yeah, you're right. But I guess we'll see what happens.
Honestly, I think with the way the Sabres are playing right now, looking at Devon Levi's numbers, and you look at Eric Comrie, how well he's playing, Craig Anderson's probably on a 1-year contract next year, probably on his way out kind of thing.
Right.
I think it's a recipe for success when you have such a strong decor in Owen Power, Rasmus Dahlin, those kind of guys. Eric Comrie's performing well. He's your starter, and then Devon Levi slides in as your backup, you know. Maybe. Just an option.
Maybe. Give him some time in the NHL. If he doesn't work out, drop him to the minors there with the... I just put myself on the spot. I can't really think of the Buffalo Sabres.
It's not the Rochester Americans. Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. Time will tell. But this is just my take with Devon Levi. Levi? I don't know.
I say Devon Levi, but that's just me.
Yeah. But we're just talking about going and seeing Northeastern games. So I hope to see him in action for Northeastern. See how I think that's when you could really see how good a player is, when you see him live and you can see what they do.
Dude, the Frozen Four was so electric. That was one of the coolest things I've ever been to. The overtime winner, you know, we snuck up to the glass seats for the championship game. It was unreal.
That's awesome.
It was sick.
But let's go from a guy that's not in the NHL to a guy that is in the NHL that you're the one who talked about him. You pumped up his tires, and you're just like, I hope Erik Karlsson gets the job done for San Jose after missing Brent Burns, and god damn is he getting the job done for the San Jose Sharks. So Erik Karlsson was the third NHL star of the week this week. He had 4 goals and 4 assists in just 3 games played. He became the first Sharks defenseman to score a hat trick, and third fastest defenseman to reach the 10th goal mark in 92 years. He currently leads defenseman in points with 21 and goals with 10.
I believe he was also top 5 in the league for goals for, right? Goals scored?
Goals scored? I missed that one. But Karlsson, man, holy shit. That, we were just watching that hat trick goal against the Anaheim Ducks, and you're just like, well, he was just... picked his spot. It was on Stola. Anthony Stola is there, and it was just wrist shots, left side blocker side that just kind of snuck through. But I don't know. You don't ask how, you ask how many, right?
Yeah, it's really all about traffic in front. I think Erik Karlsson's a good guy to quarterback the offense and run it from the blue line. He has that kind of eye for the net, the seeing eye puck that finds its way through, taking the right shots, putting them in the right places, and he's getting rewarded for it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it wasn't me just being like, oh, Erik Karlsson's going to have a breakout year. I think it's just San Jose as a team needs that guy to step up. He needs to earn the contract that he's getting paid for, especially where they're moving on from their, before he got their number one defenseman in Brent Burns. Like, I think that was San Jose's way of saying, hey, like, fuck you, get it done. We need you.
Right.
Team's still 4-9-3. They're not getting it done as a team, but Erik Karlsson is putting the team on his back. Timo Meier had some awesome goals too. I think he was breaking in on a power play, tripped, like slid onto his stomach, got right up and ripped it.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. That might have been the same game. Might have been a couple games later, but unreal. Timo Meier, I like him.
Yeah. James Reimer and Capo Kakko.
It's Capo Kakkonen in there, right?
Capo Kakkonen, sorry.
I got them mixed up
too. But yeah, they're just not. I might have talked about that during especially the San Jose Jacques breakdown. It was like, I don't know about this tandem, and I think we're kind of seeing it right here. I just kind of, I don't know. Kakkonen the starting goalie right now is James Reimer backing up? I can't remember.
Couldn't tell you. Don't think it matters when the team's 4-9-3.
Nope, not at all. But I want to bring up that awesome stat by Erik Karlsson. So you gotta hope his numbers keep going up, man.
One thing I just noticed that isn't in the notes too. How about Jack Eichel's in his return to Buffalo?
Oh yeah,
a hat trick, 4-point night. Tells the fans bye bye. Waves to the crowd.
Off.
Thank you.
Yep. Eat my crown.
Wild, dude. Wild. I just thought that was insane. Like what a gamer that guy is. Just puts the team on his back.
I love the memes that just like came out from that. Just baller shit. Like Jack Eichel.
I own you,
Buffalo.
Home,
like I own you.
And the first game he was back there, they booed the shit out of him too. They were booing him last night. Like, what an ungrateful fan base for Jack Eichel. A guy that gave his basically the majority of his career to them.
Right.
Right.
And they're just sitting here booing him. Like, yeah.
He almost got like the John Tavares treatment. Without him being like, I want to stay here. This is my team.
Yep.
It was basically like, I want to do what I want to my body, and Buffalo fans are like, boo.
Boo.
It's nuts, dude. But
I need the surgery because what they're gonna do is gonna ruin me for the rest of my life. And Buffalo Sabres was like, boo, you should ruin the rest of your life. I'm like, okay, all right, figure your shit out, will ya? But I
think they just felt like he was bailing on the team. I think if I were him, and I'm not saying he did this, but I would use that as an out too, the way the Buffalo Sabres were trending at the time.
Yep.
I'd be like, hey, look, they're not letting me do this. I want the crust cut off my tuna salad. They won't do it, so I'm leaving. I would take any excuse in the book, like where he was at the time, man.
It was a solid fuck you. It really was.
It was great. It was just like, you can't write it any better.
Nope.
Great storyline for the league.
Not at all. But we have some good news here in the league. Maybe a player that no one's really ever heard of. The Washington Capitals 2022 first-round pick, 20th overall, Ivan Moroshenko, has been cleared to play after being diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Hodgkin's lymphoma is a type of cancer that affects the lymphatic system, which is part of the body's immune system. He hasn't played in over a year after being diagnosed. He was a prospect that was widely thought of by scouts as a top 5 talent in that 2022 draft. He was the captain for Russia in the 2021 Hlinka Gretzky Cup, where they won gold and was ranked 4th best player above Canadian Slafkovsky with 4 goals and 5 assists in 5 games played. Ivan is now playing for the Junior Hockey League in Russia with 2 goals and 1 assist in 3 games played. Awesome news for such like a touted guy here too. So great to see him back on the ice and really getting his bearings under him.
Yeah, I never saw that he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. That's crazy to see him back on the ice already playing again.
Yep.
But I did see him in the Hlinka Gretzky Cup. He was unreal. Quite a talent to watch. Like very, very cool, very like highly skilled guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he definitely outperformed Slafkovsky, whose name like I didn't recognize from that cup. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
I went into that cup not knowing a single name, and
right.
I was like, wow, this is
that's
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So congratulations to him. You got to hope everything just stays nice and healthy for him until he can start with the Washington Capitals. Hopefully he can get like some bearings under him in Russia and figure shit out and maybe get a start with the Washington Capitals soon. A bunch of Russians in Washington want to help him out. Sure,
yeah.
Ovi's right there to help him out.
Oh
yeah. So we'll go from that to the Arizona Coyotes. Ooh, this is going to be one of our post picks, by the way. From November 5th to December 7th, the Arizona Coyotes will be playing 14 straight away games in 33 days. They are currently 3-0 in that 14-game stand. 3 goals allowed total in those 3 games with 1 shutout. Currently 4th in the Central with a 6-1 record. With that info, what do you think their final record would be after this 14-game stint?
So the 14 games they've started, they're 3-0, right? So they have 11 more games to play?
No, they have 11 games. Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say with a 3-0 jump, they're going to finish. Trying to do the math of what I'm trying to say here.
So off right now.
8-6. Is that 14? 8-6.
8-6. Is 8-6 14?
Yes, it sure is.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna jump you right now. I'm gonna do 9-5.
9-5.
I think they're gonna ride the wave here. I think that there's gonna be something burning under them, and just I don't know.
I'd like to see who they're playing too, but I'm looking at this blind. You know, I'd like to see what the matchups are.
Right. I'm just going full blind. I actually was looking at the schedule earlier today, and I was like, no, I can't memorize any of these teams because it'll just. Oh no, you're looking them up now.
Oh, I already made my pick, so let's take a look and tell the fans what we're looking at. So
cool.
Their last 3 away games, you said they're 3-0. That would be a 3-2 win over the Capitals, a 4-1 win over the Sabres, and a 2-0 win over the Islanders, which is probably the most impressive. Sorokin's looked really good this season. They might not have started him there, but just to beat the Islanders is pretty good. Yeah. So they got the Red Hot Devils today at 7 p.m., which is Saturday now because it's after midnight. The Rangers, the Golden Knights, the Predators, the Hurricanes, the Red Wings, the Wild, the Kings, the Canucks, the Flames, and the Oilers for 11. 2, 6, 8. Yeah, that's 11. So yeah, we need them to. I need them to get 5 more wins. You need them to get 6 more wins.
6
more
wins.
Let's look at the ones that we think they can win. Right, the Devils, I don't think so. They do have Blackwood injured now. The Rangers, I don't think so. The Knights, I don't think so. The Predators, I think so. The Hurricanes, they could squeeze one there. The Red Wings they can get. The Wild they could get. The Kings they could get. The Canucks they could get. The Flames and the Oilers they can't. So I don't think. So I see 5.5 is like how many I think they can win, which is right in between both of our picks. So nice job. Well done. Well done. That's a good post-to-post pick right there.
We did a hell of a job right there. 8-6 and 9-5. We'll see. They're
going to go 3-11.
3-11.
Yeah, thanks.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's just interesting that they're already 3-0 on that three straight away games too, especially one shutout too. It's like, oh man, maybe they got a fire under their ass. Maybe they're just gonna keep riding it. So
I just think they got some good matchups, in my opinion.
Maybe pump up the Coyotes tires right now. They're not looking too bad. They aren't looking too bad compared to last season, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest surprise to me, the Blues and the fucking Blue Jackets tied for last place in the league. Like, what is going on right now?
Seattle Kraken look
wild
good
world.
Too.
Yeah, the Kraken have definitely bounced back with Grubauer and is it Aiden Hill there? Could be mistaken. I do this to you every week because I can't be bothered to fucking look into the Kraken.
Right. It's Joey Decord. Joey Decord. Okay, so now that that's settled, should we bet? Should we bet on it? Should we bet money on that?
On what?
I don't know. On 8-6 and 9-5.
No, God, no. I'm not putting money on the goddamn Coyotes on a 14-game road streak.
Because if anything happens, just like Bo Horvat, I'm gonna message you and be like, hey, you lost me some money, buddy. And we're gonna jump right into that here. So a fan wanted his money back. Bo Horvat, after a failed shootout attempt versus Nashville, had a fan who wasn't pleased on Instagram, saying he lost $91.50 because of that. Bo Horvat responded by asking him for his info. Horvat currently leads the Canucks in goals with 12, which is also second in the league. So, good guy, Bo Horvat. We can only assume he actually paid it since the fan just did not say anything. This happened like 5 days ago. So, good guy, Horvat. That must be a great... Imagine Venmo. Man, I would screenshot that shit and just like... Dude, remember that time Bo Horvat fucking paid me for that shit?
Bo Horvat, another name that I believe was top 5 in the league for goals scored. I'm not 100% on that, but he is having a monster year. He's single-handedly helping lift the Canucks a little bit.
Yep. Besides that shootout,
they are 4-7-3 on their season. Definitely not looking good. The streak hasn't been too bad. Know who's surprising us right now, actually, that I just realized? Calgary Flames, 7-game losing streak. 5-6-2 on the season. What is going on there? Fucking wheels are falling off the bus, my guy. Ottawa Senators, 7-game losing streak, too. I'm sorry, I just pulled up the standings and wanted to chime those in there.
No, interesting.
But Bo Horvat, yeah, definitely a guy that stepped his game up. Yeah, I think we've seen a little bit of this. At a certain point, it becomes kind of begging, in my opinion. And it kind of reminds me of like the I'll trade you a bag of Skittles for your hockey stick kind of thing.
I still hated that.
It's like I kind of do, but I kind of don't. But it's just like if you're gonna do it all the time, like, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, I think the only other thing that comes to my mind when I see this, see Bo Horvat screw up was Marchand starting the shoot it off, and just like moving the puck a tiny bit, but forgetting it, you know?
Yeah, I thought of that too, but I'm like, it's not as bad. At least he got it past the blue line and was able to get it.
Oh, God, yeah, not as bad. Nothing is as bad as when Marchand did that.
Speaking of Marchand, we're going to be talking about him soon too, as well, but fuck, man, that was just that was a brutal move by Horvat.
Low light reel.
Oh, my God, you saw that puck just go behind him. You're like, oh, man, that is just not a good look for him.
Yeah.
But it's all right. His stats
Hey, when you're top 5 in the league for goals.
Yep. His stats say otherwise,
don't matter,
buddy. That's the middle finger that's right there. So, there we go. So, from Bo Horvat, let's talk about referees here. So, from prospect to referee, Justin Key ref the Buffalo Sabres versus Arizona Coyotes game this week. In 2012, Justin...
Oh, that's why they won.
Oh, what a hack. What a hack.
The Sabres curse.
Scum. In 2012, Justin was drafted to the Buffalo Sabres in the 3rd round, which is 73rd overall. He didn't play a NHL game, but played for the Rochester Americans in the AHL until 2017. He would finish his career with the Toledo Walleye in the ECHL before making the transition to becoming a professional hockey referee. He actually made his NHL debut as a referee last season on March 28th with the Buffalo Sabres versus Chicago Blackhawks, but his story didn't come to light until this week. That's actually a cool little transition here. We talked about players who retire and go into franchises and help teams out, and this guy was just like, well, I'm going to retire and become a ref, and that's how he got into the NHL, was as a referee, which is pretty cool.
That is. That's one workaround to get your first, NHL game. But I definitely really respect it. I love it. I just think, that is another way that players can definitely look to transition, on ice, off ice officials, like the things that kind of get overlooked, like you said. Mm-hmm. He already did this last year on March 28th, and no one kind of realized in a certain way. Mm-hmm. Like, those kind of stories shouldn't be overlooked, and the NHL should do a better job of, promoting that. And I guarantee you, after this story has been brought to light and how much positivity and like support that he's going to get for doing this, you're going to see a lot more of these come to light, I bet, over the next few months.
Yeah, such a cool little story. And yeah, you're right. The fact that it wasn't brought to light, we just don't know. So I'm sure it's happened before, but it's definitely a cool story to see. Just like, dude tried, that's the goal. Once you get to that point with the AHL, you're just like, well, I just got one more step before I get into the NHL, and a lot of times players just can't get that extra step there, Mm-hmm. And so this is his way into the NHL to, I guess, live his dream. So good for him. Awesome story there too. So I'm sure he'll be betting on Buffalo Sabres games and calling some plays that shouldn't be called. So
nice, there you go.
Watch out for him on the ice and place your bets accordingly.
Yeah, Matt says he's a DJ. Never met the guy, but he's fucking gambling on the team and throwing games left and right. Take the under.
Take the under. Breaking news, Evander Kane has been traded to the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Sorry, you're a better guy now, Evander Kane. I'm so sorry. I just need to throw that in there. All right, so let's go back to the Brad Marchand. I told everyone I was going to be getting back into him. He had a weird stat that happened this week. Brad Marchand scored his 6th penalty shot goal of his career, which tied Mario Lemieux for second most in league history. Pavel Bure holds first spot with 7. Marchand's last penalty shot was in the beginning of last season on October 16th versus Dallas on Hopi, where he scored. That penalty shot also injured Maple Leafs Ilya Samsonov, by the way, who is currently week to week. Fun little fact about his little penalty shot goal. The penalty shot is nothing new. The first penalty shot in NHL history happened on November 10th, 1934, between the Montreal Canadiens' Armand Mondeau shooting on Maple Leafs goalie George Hainsworth, who made the save. The first penalty shot goal was scored 3 days later by St. Louis Eagles' Ralph Bowman. Last season, there were 35 penalty shots awarded, but the league usually sees roughly 40 to 45 penalty shots awarded each season. The reason why I thought this was weird is because when I saw 6, in my head you see 6, right, which is like a small number, and I'm like, how the hell is he tied for second in like league history? And then I kind of want to go deeper into it and like how many actual like penalty shot like or like awarded a season? So 40, 45. Sure, it'd be difficult to like get up to that. Get up to.
Yeah,
that.
I wonder what the save percentage is like compared to shootouts. Like how many of those 40 to 45 are saves, and how many make it to the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
And now put into perspective that Marchand has been given X of them, and he scored 6.
6.
You know,
right next to like Lemieux and Bowman.
Yeah,
that's nuts. It's kind of crazy to see, and that means Marchand is fucking that rat that somehow gets those penalty shots.
I think it's really just separation speed. He's in on a breakaway. He'll drive wide and protect the puck with his arm and keep the stick on the right side kind of thing, and then get like the stick in the leg and take a little oh no,
Oh, no,
but he's got
tripped.
like the step on the guy where know what I mean. They're like, yeah, penalty shot kind of thing.
So I'm sure now I gotta go down the YouTube rabbit hole of every time Brad Marchand got a penalty shot.
Yeah.
Like he's doing something that's
if he's put 6 in, I kind of want to know how many he's actually taken. Like is he 6 for 5, 6 for 7, 6 for 12? You know.
So kind of crazy to see, and I'm just curious how many guys get it a lot, or I wonder if guys just like go their whole career and just like not get one. So 40, 45. That's throughout every team. Just throughout every
there's
team.
a million guys that haven't gotten a penalty shot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But interesting little fact for everyone. So we have some sad news also this week. Hockey Hall of Famer Peter McNabb passed away. I'm going to do a little callback to Brad Marchand here and the Bruins. Peter was diagnosed with cancer last year and still worked games while undergoing treatment. He was an analyst with the Colorado Avalanche since becoming the Avalanche from the Nordiques in 1995. After retiring from the NHL in 1987, he served as the New Jersey Devils broadcaster before becoming an analyst for the Avs. His contributions as a player and broadcaster resulted in his induction into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2021. Fun fact, while playing for the Bruins, he, Mike Milbury, and several other Bruins climbed into the stands for the infamous Milbury beating a fan with his own shoe story. Also a nice callback, Peter was the Bruin in franchise... Oh, I wrote that wrong, sorry. Also a nice callback, Peter was the first Bruin in franchise history to have a penalty shot on April 9th, 1981. It was against the Northside's goalie Don Beaupre, who made the save. As of 2022, Peter is among the Bruins' top 10 career leaders in goals, points, and playoff scoring. So, unfortunate passing from Peter McNabb here. Actually, it's kind of funny because my uncle brought him up to me. I saw the story. I think I sent it to you. And I was like, well, I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole. And that next day, my uncle brought it up to me. He goes, Peter, I've just never heard that name before. And he was telling me, oh, yeah, Bruins for a while was part of the whole Mike Milbury stuff. So when I was looking him up, like, wow, this dude's been just around. We talk about guys, this call back to, again, to what we were talking about, guys just leaving the NHL and getting into with the New Jersey Devils and Colorado Avalanche. And so,
broadcast media is a really cool, path for guys to take too. I think that Peter McNabb is a really good play-by-play guy. I liked listening to him back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't say enough about the guy, but I know more about him as an announcer than as a player.
As a player, yeah, 100%. So unfortunate passing. So we're gonna do our little. We got these things again, the slurps.
There you go.
There we go. So we got a few more, 2 more newses to cover. Thanks. Thank you, English. Yeah, glad I learned that. All right, so 2 more topics at hand. Gerard Gallant not giving a shit this week. He dropped Chris Kreider to the 4th line earlier this week versus the Red Wings at the beginning of the 3rd period where they lost 3-2 in OT. When asked about it, he said he deserved to be where he was at. That's brutal. Kreider is currently second on the team in goals and with sixth and fourth on the team in assists with 7. As of today, he's back on the first line per foreverblueshirts.com. They say, I think Gallant didn't demote him for not scoring enough. The message was certainly directed at Chris to play a better all-around game, but to let the team know that they all need to elevate their compete levels. I think this is more for a slap in the face to Kreider instead of playing well than a wake-up call to the team just in general. Rangers are currently 4th in the Metro and 13th in the league with a 7-5-3 record. My question to you is, what kind of a message does this send, especially to a guy like Chris Kreider, who has just been the face of the organization, who is actually getting the job done? I feel like this was not the best move for Gerard Gallant here.
No, I think it is. I think, honestly, like, if you're not happy with the way the team's performing and you take a first-line guy and knock him down a peg, if you think that's really what it takes. Mm-hmm. I mean, like you said, 6 goals, 7 assists, plus 3. Not too much to complain about there, but I feel like a guy that's putting the puck in the back of the net that consistently should have a higher plus-minus. Maybe his two-way game isn't as great. Maybe he's not seeing the drive that he wants out of the guy. Mm-hmm. But I think as a coach, every player on the team other than Chris Kreider is going to look at this and say, man, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, if you're not performing up to his standard, you're going to get knocked down a peg. And if you are, you're going to get bumped up a line and, get more ice time, get more opportunity. So I think it kind of shows all the other guys that, if you work hard, you get, the chances and shit.
Yeah.
And when you're lacking in it, you get knocked down a peg.
I guess. I guess. I'm with you, but I feel like Chris Kreider's stats say just otherwise. Like, he's just the goals are there. Like, his assists are there with the team, and instead of taking someone else on, like, say, that first line, like Sammy Bly, and just like dropping him down on the fourth line, and be like, hey, listen, you guys gotta like step your shit up. Instead of taking like, it's like, shit call here, but. That's like saying just like, I was going to say Alex Ovechkin, but that's just dumb. Say like Adam Fox or whatever, just taking him. Say I'd like to have just like defensive problems and take Adam Fox for the New York Rangers are dropping him down to the fourth line or third line and being like, hey, this is what happens if you don't produce. I'm like,
yeah, it's a tough comparison when you're looking at forward versus D, but yeah. I think the main way to look at it is there's a certain element to the game that you need to contribute. Like, let's look at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Who was the player that came over when the Patrick Laine trade? Pierre-Luc Dubois. When he just stopped giving a fuck and just stood there in the corner.
Yep, that's right.
You see that happen, and it doesn't matter who you are. You do that, you're fucking benched.
Benched, yeah.
I'm not saying Chris Kreider did that, but let's say Gerard Gallant sees something in his game that's like, this guy's showing me he's not giving me 110 when he should be. And at the end of the day, like, fuck you. You're not going to give me what I expect of you, then... I'm going to give someone else your ice time and give them your opportunity. It is kind of nuts to see a first-line guy bump down to the fourth line. Like, I personally can't speak to it because I don't know the reasoning, and it seems like it's not something that is coming outside of the locker room because it's a one-game thing, back to the down to the fourth line, back to the first and next. Like, we're moving on from it, and even when it did happen, they didn't really have a great answer for it. It's kind of all just speculation. So I think it's a coaching tactic, and I think I applaud Gallant for it because he's one of the best coaches in the league. He's been in the running for, what the fuck is the award, but for best coach in the league, obviously. Yep. He may or may not have won it. I suck. I should know these things, but, I don't know. I don't see a problem with it. I think it's old school mentality. Yeah. I think it's John Tortorella tactics, but if it works, it works. And the Rangers, if anyone knows torts, it's the Rangers. So.
It's the Rangers. Yep, 100%.
It's old school organization.
Right. All right. Yeah. I could see it. I could see it your way. You broke it down.
But at the end of the day, right? Like, what's the worst thing you're gonna get out of it, right? You bump Kreider. Let's say he is producing. He's putting pucks in the back of the net. You're getting point production out of him. Yeah. You bump him in the fourth line because you don't like what he's doing. You bump him back up. What's the worst that's gonna happen? Is he gonna be all pissy pants and be all poo poo about it? Well, guess what? Here's the fourth line again, pal. Have fun.
Right.
Or hey, let's ship you out of here. We can sell fucking high on you for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Right.
I don't know. Bunch of different ways it can go, but I don't see how it would go bad.
Yeah, you're right.
The only person that's going to be pissed off is Kreider, I think.
Yeah. The organization has a huge say in it too. But I don't know. That's to say the organization is just like, no, we're with Gallant and everything he does. Because I don't know. The New York Rangers could have looked at that and be like, "The fuck you doing? Like, we don't Gallant, like he's first line guy. What the hell are you doing?
I don't think so though, because I think the GM picks the coach, and the coach is given his free reign to do what he sees best for the lineup, whatever's going to get a win done, And if he thinks moving Kreider down to the fourth line, like, hey, maybe that means Kreider's now getting matched up against the fucking fourth line too. And, at the end of the day, the organization questions it. Gallant's got an answer, I would say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your take.
I'm looking at it in a sense of like a Belichick around here, where like, oh, Belichick knows best. Like, he knows everything. That guy's a god. Don't question his fucking decision.
Just let him do what he's got to do. And that's it. Just the grumpy old man that he is. All right, so the last bit of news that we have here. So we have a couple of new NHL records here. Speaking about coaches, Panthers head coach Paul Maurice with a 3-0 win against the Carolina Hurricanes passed Al Arbour for most NHL wins with 783. Paul Maurice is now 6th all-time in the wins department. Right above him is New Jersey Devils head coach Lindy Ruff with 793 wins. After that, he's got a big ladder to climb. 4th is Ken Hitchcock with 849. 3rd is Barry Trotz with 914. 2nd is Joel Quenneville with 969. And 1st is Scotty Bowman with 1,244. Bowman also leads the NHL coaches in Stanley Cups with 9. Sweet Jesus. Also, Alex Ovechkin passed Gordie Howe this week for most goals scored with one franchise with 787 goals. Howe with 786 is right below him for Detroit. Stevie Y with 692 with Detroit. Mario Lemieux with 690 with Pittsburgh, and Joe Sakic with 625 between the Quebec Nordiques and the Colorado Avalanche. Alex Ovechkin's just going to keep. We talked about this. We talk about him pretty much every.
If I could erase anything you ever write about Ovechkin, I would.
Yeah, it's just like we might as well just wait till he retires and just fucking talk.
No,
about
I
it.
really would. Like, I don't think we need to talk about Ovechkin next week when he breaks a different record. Just so you know, like we can skip it.
We could just skip it, because he's just gonna break that record again or something again this fucking week. So just.
But like literally, like we can skip it.
We could just skip it.
Thank you.
Week. We could just skip.
As long as you're on the same page.
Just skip it. Don't even.
For the love of God.
Just know if we don't talk about Ovechkin, we know. We know what he's done. It's just he's at the point in his career where he's just fucking flying by guys. So we'll just wait. There'll be a time when he retires, but all right, let's go down the fucking list of everything he's done. But congrats to Paul Maurice here, too. Really climbing that ladder with the Florida Panthers. I think being on awesome organizations that he's been, Winnipeg Jets, when they were doing really fucking well.
Dude, Lindy Ruff, like, expanding the gap a little bit with his 8-game win streak, too, right?
Yeah.
Like, with the Devils, eight straight wins. So now, like, bridge it out a little bit with Paul Maurice. Let them suffer.
Little back and forth between the both of them, but I don't think they're really looking at that. They just want to be the coach that they are.
Yeah. They just want every win they can get.
But it was actually insane to see that absolute gap between Joel Quenneville and Scott Bowman.
Yeah, Scotty Bowman, what a fucking legend, huh? That's
right?
Crazy. 9 cups, too.
One away from just like
Psycho.
10 cups. The fucking god of head coaches. Well, he was with, back in the day, he was with the old school Montreal Canadiens and Detroit Red Wings. So, dude was just seeing Stanley Cups left and fucking right with that organization.
Right.
So, that's nuts. Just Scotty Bowman. Wow. I was looking at, when I was doing this, I was just like kind of going up the list there. It's like, holy shit, who's this guy? What is that gap in like the first place there? So, yeah, that's it.
So this is just players, but they don't put the coach in here. I searched who has the most Stanley Cup rings.
Yeah.
This is the most Stanley Cups won in the NHL. So as of 2022, obviously. Henry Richard with 11. Jean Bellevue with 10.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan Kornyoy with 10. Do you know him?
No.
Me either. That was terrible. I assume he's probably with the fucking Islanders or the fucking Canadians from back in the day. Claude Provost with 9. Maurice Richard with 8. Red Kelly, Jacques Lemaire, Serge Savard. Jesus Christ. I don't know any of these names. They're all from back in the day. But, I mean, even down to Bernie Geoffrion with 6. Like, I don't know any of those names, Like, no one... Think about how hard it would be to get 6 Stanley fucking Cups.
Now.
Right?
Now.
You would have to Corey Perry and get lucky every time.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's nuts.
Think about the original 6 and like the expansion. Like it was.
That's probably what it is. That's probably why they have that.
Yeah, these guys are just fucking.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
just keeps going.
Yeah, it was pretty good though. You got to listen to me butcher some fucking names for once.
Yeah, I was kind of just like, let's see where this goes. But yeah, I mean, 2022 now we got 32 games. We have 32 teams, but let's break that down into 6 teams altogether. Back in the day, like how. I wouldn't say it was easy, but like your odds of winning a Stanley Cup are just a lot fucking better with only 6 teams.
For sure.
Like that's where you see it. And then we saw the whole Montreal Canadiens with like the 27 Stanley Cups or some shit.
Yeah,
that
fucking
they have.
massive
fucking
gap.
Insane gap that they have. And Detroit Red Wings are a fucking god. Boston Bruins,
New York Islanders.
New York Islanders, just coming up. But yeah, Stanley Cup, baby. Must be nice. Must be nice to be in that original 6 right there, especially as the Montreal Canadiens.
Big time.
When was the last time they won the Cup?
Montreal Canadiens?
Yeah.
Sooner than the Leafs, but the Leafs will get one this year, right, Matt?
Yeah. That's right. That was my pick. They could come back. They can make a crazy comeback. Got really quiet after I said that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it. That is it for this episode. You ready to take this slurp, bud?
Let's do it.
Strawberry summer. That's what
Slammer.
Oh, strawberry slammer. Oh, look how I couldn't read it.
Okay.
Dude, this thing is warm. We've had this out for way too long. Sorry.
Don't spill. So strong.
Yeah, buddy.
Cheers, bud.
Ugh. Dude, it is better like when you just don't let it freeze.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't hurt as bad going down.
100%.
And I think now I'm just used to like a Jello shot. Remember I was complaining where just like I'm just not used to just like taking a shot of like Jello.
Yep.
Ugh, but it is better. So, with that said, it is 1:00 in the morning, and I think it is time for both of us to hit the sack.
I agree. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If there's anything you want to see us cover next episode, let us know. Our links are in the description. Please head on over to our website, posttopostpod.com. Check out our merch, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
Peace.